One of these Bob Fergusons will appear second on the ballot. The other will appear third on the ballot. And I appear number 13 on the ballot.
Earlier this month, Attorney General Bob Ferguson said the other Bob Fergusons violated state law, trying to confuse voters with what he called dirty tricks. To differentiate between all the Fergusons on the ballot, Secretary of State Steve Hobbs decided to add occupations to their names, and the Attorney General listed the office he's held since 2013. The other two Fergusons ended up dropping out of the race. But before that, the Attorney General's campaign sent a letter to Secretary Hobbs telling him, quote, "You must also adjust the order in which the three candidates' names appear."
It wasn't, will you please do this? It was, you must do this. You must change the ballot order. And to me, that's what set off my alarm bells, because that is a clear violation of the law. It shouldn't be happening.
State Senator Mark Mullet is one of 28 candidates for governor. The fellow Democrat says Bob Ferguson crossed the line when Ferguson's campaign told the state's head of elections to move Ferguson's name above the other Bob Ferguson's.
I was a bit surprised because clearly in the RCW it says you can't switch it at all. It's determined by lot.
Secretary Hobbs says the RCW, the revised code of Washington, state law, is clear. Names are listed on a ballot according to numbers randomly drawn, like bingo numbers. He says his staff and lawyers from the Attorney General's office recommended against moving around any names.
There would be a high amount of risk if I would have reordered it, which meant high risk of losing.
In court.
In court.
Bob Ferguson was not available for an on-camera interview. In a written statement, he says had the other Fergusons appeared above the Attorney General's name, his campaign would have sued the state, claiming the Secretary of State has the authority to take steps to differentiate between candidates with similar names, adding, quote, "It's unfortunate that Mark Mullet does not support this simple act for election integrity, but perhaps the fact he would have benefited from that confusion explains his anti-democratic position." Secretary of State Steve Hobbs is a Democrat, and he has endorsed Senator Mullet, not Bob Ferguson, for governor, but the Secretary of State says this decision on this issue was purely made for those legal reasons. Live in Olympia, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.